Okay, so in that last video in the playlist, we looked at this Python object here, and this is essentially what we need to get our controller to work with any game engine. I was using Pygame for the example, so I did an object in Python. And do this same object in C# and C++ and Java and all the major languages, but the same logic, just the initialization or constructor or whatever, depends on the language, just tries to connect. If it can't, it's going to return none or null or whatever it needs for that language. I guess some of them would even return a 0, or an empty string. But whatever is appropriate for that language, it returns either that or the connection. And once we have that connection, we can go through and use our protocol to access a bunch of getter methods for the axes or the buttons and all the controls, and just set it up that way. And if our initialization just returned none in this case, or maybe null for C#, we would just put that in an if statement, and if that's null, use the keyboard instead or something. Gives us a way to do this manual control. We'll manually type in everything for using this controller, and that's going to work. There'll be a couple more videos coming up on cleaning this up a little and testing it with our protocol, but maybe you're curious about something else. Maybe you want one of those controllers that you can just plug up and it's ready to go. You just plug it up and it's going to recognize it, right? Like plugging in your PlayStation 4 controller to the PC and being able to use that immediately with your games. So I'm going to continue on with these tutorials and go over that, but that is not copy and paste code. That's not quite so much copy and paste, easy explanations for it. So in order to do that, we need a HID device, human interface devices. So we have to set all this up specifically. We have to have the microcontroller tell the computer that it is a joystick device in a very specific format. So there's lots and lots of reading. So I'm going to start here, usb.org/HID. This is kind of the starter place to get the reference material. Well, I'll start with this one. So the device class definitions, the sort of thing we have to do. So here's a quick overview for it. And I'm going to open the PDF here. I'm not going to scroll very far, but the basic point here is to go further. It's going to take a lot of research and knowledge because it's very specific, and what I do on my device, even if you copied every step up to now, might be slightly different than yours, so you kind of have to know what the standards are for human interface device communication. So on this, if we scroll down a little, get the table of contents, and you can see it's a huge list of these things we have to go through. Lots and lots of information about what needs to be included in that standard. So a whole lot of research in order to do these things. Let me go back. Our device definitions. Here's another good example. I'll open this in a new tab. So the usage tables, and you'll notice there's no summary of it. This is one of the key points of the research. If I open the PDF here, this one I know, if we just scroll down, I'm not going to go very far. I'm just going to go, this is how many engineers it took or contributed to writing this PDF. So you imagine if it's over a page of engineers listed out as the authors for this, for our usage tables, there's a lot of data to go through and make sense of to work with your device. So continuing on from here is going to be a little more complicated. I just wanted to point that out. There's lots of research involved going forward. It's not a easily summarized thing. But if we go through here, this usb.org/HID goes over, is the starting point, and we get down here, Gaming Standards Association. So here is the standards that we'll have to match in order to have a HID compliant joystick device. If we come over here under standards, we can go to gaming device standards. And yeah, so here's the table of contents. You can go in and read the book. You have to have an account to read the book, but we can just peek inside and kind of see what it looks like. So for the little peek here, just some, you can see it looks like a lot of reference material. So here's the requirement. It must support full speed, and full speed 12 megabits per second. Arduinos, the Atmega 328Ps are running at 16 megahertz, which is bits per second. So we do meet that full speed requirement. And it tells what ports it has to be connected on and all sorts of information like that. So in general, the thought is continuing on from this point. There's still going to be videos coming in, but they're going to be a little more complicated and involve lots of research in order to follow along with what's going on. So there'll be some cleanup videos, but I'm going to go ahead and start working on putting this together as a HID compliant device, which is a little more complicated. So the following videos in the tutorial, some later this week showing the cleanup from that testing that started last night, a couple 2D games, well really just the setting, an overhead set, top-down setting, a platform setting, and then a 3D setting to test that protocol we've made. But at the same time, I'm going to get started reading and figuring out and digging through research material and finding all of the stuff that I need for that. So continuing on with the tutorials after the couple of that show up later this week, finishing those tests we've started, are going to involve a lot of research to make sure you know what's going on in setting this up. So just wanted to include that video somewhere. For now, still just cleaning this up, and I think at the same time this week I'll also clean up the documentation. We have that Doxygen thing that's generated, so I think I'll go ahead and start working my own CSS in there, my own style sheet to get rid of the just generic blue look to it. So those videos are coming up, but then the following ones, making this just a plug and play device, are going to be a lot more complicated and involve a lot of research. So just thought I'd throw this video in here to get ready for that.